September 1939. The world trembles as the German army invades Poland. Cities burn, refugees flood the roads, and chaos swallows the country whole. In the northeast, near a quiet village called Wizna, a handful of soldiers stand in muddy trenches, faces pale, uniforms worn thin. They know the enemy is coming and that there will be no escape. Their commander, Captain Władysław Raginis, watches the horizon through his binoculars. Beyond the trees, black columns of smoke twist into the sky. The sound of distant engines echoes like thunder. He lowers the binoculars. "Gentlemen," he says softly, "it begins. This will not be a victory. It will be a test of spirit, the kind that defines nations." Morning mist covers the bunkers. Soldiers drink from dented canteens, eat dry bread, clean rifles with trembling hands. One man ties a family photo inside his helmet. Another hides a letter in his boot, a message for a mother who will never read it. Captain Raginis walks among them. He stops beside Lieutenant Brykelski, who is checking the machine gun position. "Are your men ready?" Raginis asks. Brykelski nods. "They are, sir. Just waiting." Waiting is the hardest part. But remember, we're not here to survive. We're here to delay them. In the distance, they hear it. A deep, mechanical rumble, like the growl of 1,000 beasts. Tanks. At dawn, the horizon erupts with fire. The first shells scream overhead and explode in geysers of earth and shrapnel. Polish soldiers press their faces into the mud as the sky itself seems to fall apart. The ground trembles, bunkers shake, and the air fills with choking dust. From the distance, the howl of Stuka dive bombers cuts through the chaos, that mechanical shriek of death descending. The sound alone makes hearts stop. Then, through the smoke, the grey shapes appear, German tanks rolling forward in perfect formation. Raginis grips the periscope, eyes cold but steady. He says quietly, "Wait for them to close." When the tanks reach 300 meters, he shouts, "Fire!" Machine guns rattle like thunder. A German tank bursts into flames, then another. The sky flashes with explosions, and the smell of burning oil fills the air. For a moment, time slows. The Polish line holds. Against impossible odds, they stop the invincible army cold. Evening falls, turning the smoke red against the setting sun. The defenders have been fighting for 12 straight hours, deafened, burned, exhausted. Their ammunition is running low, but their resolve hardens with every shell that lands. Inside the bunker, maps are blackened by soot. Raginis wipes sweat and blood from his face. Around him, his men, hollow-eyed, covered in grime, reload again and again. Lieutenant Brykelski bursts in, coughing. They're coming again, with flamethrowers. Raginis nods, lights a cigarette with shaking hands. Then we make them pay for every step. When the next wave hits, the world becomes a storm of fire. Flames roll across trenches, smoke blinds the gunners, but still the Polish machine guns roar. Men scream in Polish and German, orders, prayers, curses, all lost in the thunder of battle. For every meter the Germans advance, they leave a trail of steel and bodies behind. The second dawn brings no relief, only more death. Artillery shells pound the hill until the soil itself seems to bleed. Every crater fills with rainwater and ash. Inside the bunkers, the air is unbreathable. Men fight half-blind, half-deaf, hands raw, uniforms soaked in sweat and blood. Still, they reload, aim, and fire because stopping means dying. The Germans grow angry. They send in wave after wave, tanks grinding over trenches, flamethrowers spewing liquid fire into the bunkers, but the Poles keep shooting. Sometimes single bullets, sometimes throwing grenades when ammo runs out. Brykalski's final message crackles through the static. "Tell the captain we'll hold a little longer." Minutes later, his bunker falls silent. Yet every minute they fight delays the German advance, and every delay saves lives farther south. By midday, Raginis's bunker is the last breath of resistance. Outside, flames rise from wrecked positions. The smell of burnt fuel and flesh chokes the air. Inside, the walls crumble, the floor floods with mud and blood. "Sir," says Pieter, the medic, "we can't hold them off any more." Raginis steadies himself on the wall, grimacing from a leg wound. He looks around. Every man there has become a shadow of himself, faces blackened, lips cracked, eyes burning with fever and faith. "Then we hold with what we have left," he says. He takes a rifle from a fallen soldier, loads the last bullet, and fires through the collapsing slit window, a single shot disappearing into the storm. The Germans surround the position, shouting through megaphones for surrender. Raginis looks at the Polish flag, half buried in dirt. He whispers, "Poland does not surrender." Moments later, the explosion inside the bunker shakes the hill, the captain's final defiance. The battlefield falls silent. Smoke drifts over craters and twisted metal. German soldiers move cautiously through the ruins. They find only death and defiance. When they reach the last bunker, they stop. Inside lies Captain Raginis, his hand still clutching the pin. Even the enemy feels the weight of the moment. A German officer removes his helmet and whispers, "He was our enemy, but he was a soldier." They bury him with respect, an act rare in that war. For 3 days, the impossible defense of Wizna delayed the German advance. Those 720 Polish soldiers held back an army of over 40,000. To the outside world, it was a minor skirmish. To Poland, it was a symbol of courage beyond comprehension. Only 40 defenders survived. They were captured, wounded, and starved, but unbroken. One survivor later said, "We did not fight to win. We fought to be remembered." And they were. After the war, Wizna disappeared beneath decades of silence. The communist regime erased many names, and Raginis's story faded into whispers. But locals remembered. Farmers still found bullet casings in their fields, and old women left candles on unmarked graves. In 2009, when Captain Raginis was finally reburied with military honors, thousands came. Veterans saluted. Children held flags. A priest spoke over the coffin. "For 70 years your courage lay in the earth. Today, Poland stands because you did. An elderly man placed a rusted medal on the grave. It had belonged to his father, who fought at Wizna. He whispered, "You did not die for nothing."
History often glorifies victories, but it's the lost battles that show us who we truly are. The story of Wizna is not about numbers. It's about the weight of duty carried by ordinary men, about the sound of a rifle in the dark, the warmth of friendship in a bunker, and the quiet courage to face certain death. Captain Raginis and his men did not stop the war, but they stopped fear. For 3 days they made the world remember that honor can defy annihilation. Even when surrounded, starving, dying, they chose resistance over surrender. And that choice echoes louder than any cannon.
The field where Wizna once stood is now quiet. Wildflowers grow where bunkers used to be. Children play by the river, unaware that the soil beneath them once drank the blood of heroes. As the sun rises, the wind carries whispers through the grass, faint, almost like voices. We fought because we must. We held because we believed. The story of Wizna is not a legend, it's a testament that courage does not depend on victory, that even when hope dies, honor can live on.